Insurance update. My name is Max Wake. I'm president of Jones Bank. We're very pleased to have you join us this morning. This is a little bit different format for us. We've done crop insurance updates in different ways, in person and so forth, but this is the first time using it electronically. We really have a nice turnout, so thank you for joining us. I realize we are all still kind of learning this technology. Hopefully you can hear me and see me and the other presenters okay. If you do have issues during the program, you can call Jennifer. Her number is 643-7733. That is Jennifer at 643-7733. There is also a chat feature that you can pose questions or ask for help with something. We're sure glad to take requests there. Again, we know this is a little bit new, a little bit different, and we want it to work just as smoothly as possible. I will say we very much appreciate your business and appreciate the relationships we have with you. As a part of that, we do hope to provide updates on important topics and educational information and industry information. And so an update on the crop insurance program is intended to be helpful in that way. We understand crop insurance is just a very key risk management tool, and we're so pleased to be able to work with you on that product and to help us all understand and use the product as best we can. Another item that's a little bit different this year is we do have customers of both Jones Bank and of Valparaiso Insurance Agency joining us. Welcome to all of you. In a sense, those two entities have the same parent company. So you're maybe used to talking to different folks, but the product is really the same. And there's a connection between the two entities. And we felt like, one program for everyone today had some real benefits. Another change here at the bank and with Valparaiso Insurance is that we do have some new employees, and I'd like to take a moment to introduce those. We have quite a number of employees on the call here today, many of whom are probably familiar to you, but I do want to make a point of introducing folks that are new. They don't all work in crop insurance, but they all have an ag connection, and we thought it was good to make those introductions. So I'll give a number of them just a minute to say hello, and we'll lead off with Derek Tazinski.
Yeah, hi, I'm Derek Tashinsky. I'm from the Brainerd Weston area, so I went to East Butler. I went to Hastings College, and my wife is from Norfolk. We had moved to Seward here last year, and it's great to be part of the Jones Bank team. So thanks, Max.
Thank you, Derek. And Kelly Cum.
Yeah, hi, my name's Kelly Cum. I'm new to Jones Bank here since December. Not new to ag lending. I was an ag lender for almost 20 years up in Bloomfield, Nebraska, north of Norfolk. I moved down here with my family and happy to be here and always willing to help anyone with anything they might need.
Thank you, Kelly. We'll have a few other introductions later on, but I want to also now introduce Ben Spurk. Ben also is new to the bank, and Ben will be working with crop insurance, both in Seward and in Valparaiso. And I'll maybe let Ben tell you a little about his background, but he has an excellent experience with crop insurance and also with insurance work in general. And we thought one good way to get to know Ben a little bit would be to give him the chance to present a portion of the program. So in addition to introducing himself. He's going to tell us all a little bit about crop hail insurance. So Ben, I'll let you take it away, please.
All right, thank you, Max. Like you said, my name's Ben Spurk. I grew up in Nebraska here, south of Hastings. I've got about 4 or 5 years where I did crop insurance underwriting and some selling stuff. So I've got some good experience back there. My wife is a pharmacist, but her dad is a farmer rancher down south of Hastings. So every year I get the pleasure of helping him push cows through pens and then also help with the crop side of things. So it gives me some good experience on the ag side of items around here. And as Max said, I do have a presentation to share, so just bear with me here. Can everybody see that okay? So as we said, I'm going to talk about crop hail insurance. We're just going to kind of do a brief overview of it. For more details, certainly call us and we'd love to go over those with you if you have some very specific questions down the road with them. So the first thing I just want to cover with crop hail is just what is it that crop hail actually covers? It's not always just hail insurance. Crop hail policies actually cover hail, fire, lightning, and then the one that always does get missed, at least in my experience, is it does actually cover some transit coverage from the field to the first place of storage. So it's something to always remember if you ever have any problems. With our crop insurance policies with crop hail, there's usually 2 types. When I say types, what I mean is whether it's something that auto renews or not. So we have standalone policies that are available. These have to be applied for every year. They don't change. They don't automatically renew. So every year you'll still have to apply for them. Usually with standalone, you have to provide us the legal locations, the section, township, range, how many acres, share, stuff like that. We can usually get it from your MPCI acreage report, but we do have to fill out a new application every year. With the standalone policy, the only thing to note there is it is not available for the crop hail production plans. So it's only available for your basic coverages, companion coverages, or disappearing deductible type of coverages. And then the other types of policy they do have that Rain and Hail offers is a continuous crop hail policy. When you elect to make it continuous, it'll automatically renew every year. If you want to make any changes to coverage, you do have to have those submitted by May 31st. And these are available for all types of crop policies. So whether it's your basic, companion, or production hail, you can get that for any kind of continuous crop hail policy. With our crop hail coverage, as I mentioned, there are differing types of coverage that you can get for standalone policies. So this would be your basic coverage. There are varying levels of companion policies. Your companion 2 plus with 5% deductible, or companion 2 with a 10% deductible. And then you have some other policies. These would be your DDAs, your DDBs. These are the disappearing deductibles. So with the basic hail coverage, the important thing to remember with that one is it pays on a percent versus percent basis. So if you have a 2% damage, it's going to pay you 2% of damage. There's no deductible applied there, but you get paid exactly what the damage is. With the companion policies, they come with what's called a payment factor. So how this works is there is a deductible, but once you exceed that deductible, there's a payment factor. So you get paid at, I think it's 1.25% payment on the percentages. So it'll increase as you go up, and eventually it varies with the companion policies, but it usually pays out around 50% for the claims. So that's kind of how they work. So for example, if you have 20% damage with the payment factor, it might get paid more around 25 type of deal. So then you have the DDA or the DDB. These are the ones that have a deductible that disappears as you increase the damage of the field. So as the damage goes up, then the deductible just disappears and you don't necessarily have it. So with the production hail plans, these come with their own kind of sets of coverage, if you will. How these work is crop hail production plans pull information from your MPCI policy. So that's why in order to get production hail, you have to have it with the same company that you insure your MPCI with, because they have to work together. So how they start, you have a percentage of your approved yield that you select. So this ranges from 100% of the approved yield all the way up to 120 in 5% increments. This is usually gets referred to on the app or in the policy as a yield modifier. Just so you understand how that kind of works is basically your guaranteed bushels in. So let's say you have 100 bushel APH approved yield. If you elect 120, your actual approved yield that you get coverage up to is actually 120 for the approved yield for easy math. So that's kind of how that works. Then what you have to select then is your price selection. So your price selection, what you're electing there is how much of the projected price you're electing for coverage. Now this ranges from 100% of that price down to 25. Again, you select that increment in that amount in 5% increments. So choosing a little bit less on the price is a way to sort of reduce your premium if that's what you're looking to do. Just, when you do that, just always remember that if that price is $4, for the projected price and you elect 75% of that price, you're going to get paid at $3. So just always remember that's kind of how that works. And again, the production hail policy, it will pull over all of your legal information, share, and all that stuff. So that way you don't necessarily have to refill that out on an application. So that's kind of how that one works. There are two main endorsements to talk about with crop hail policies are what's called Green Snap or Wind. So Green Snap, both of them can actually follow the deductible of the underlying coverage, or you can elect to have a 10% deductible, depending on what you want. Both have to be elected by June 15th of the current crop year. So keep that in mind. Coverage for crop hail policies as well as the endorsements, they all begin on the ladder of the effective date, meaning when you applied for it, if you apply before the crop is visibly above the ground or once that crop becomes visibly above the ground. Green Snap only runs through October 1st. Under Wind, you do have the option to select either October 1st or November 1st for that coverage. So if you want to make sure that coverage goes through most of the harvest season, Wind will help you get to that November 1st date. Coverage is always elected per county, not per policy. So if you have multiple counties and you want that, or you don't want that endorsement on one county and you do on another, that's kind of how that endorsement works, is we can elect it per county. So that way it's not just a policy deal. Just some additional items I always like to remind people of when it comes to crop hail policies. In the state of Nebraska, all the policies will expire on December 31st. So just keep that in mind. Obviously, fingers crossed it, we don't have any kind of a major storm that prevents everybody from harvesting, in October, but just so you understand, the policy does expire on the 31st. Rain and Hail does offer a 3% cash discount. This does mean your premium does have to be paid by August 30th in order to get that discount. For production hail plans, this is a newer item with them, but they can follow the unit structure of your underlying MPCI policy. So if you have enterprise units or basic units or optional units, it does kind of follow that unit structure. And the most important thing I always like to remind people of is when you apply for a crop hail policy, there is what's called a 2-hour binding time. So if you apply, during June when crops are above ground, there's a 2-hour window where coverage is not going to necessarily be in place. Okay, so the point there is, don't call us right when the hail's starting to hit the roof of your house, because it might be difficult to get that coverage to have been in place when that hailstorm came through. If you do that, the company will usually also have to send out an adjuster to verify no damage, and if there is, adjust it already, so that way they can figure out exactly how much coverage will be on those fields. So that kind of sums up the brief overview here of crop hail coverage. If you want to use the chat feature, how you can use that, if you move your mouse, if you're on a laptop, what it'll do is it'll pull up a toolbar at the bottom, and there should be a button that says chat feature or just says chat. If you want to click on that, if you have any questions, you can certainly, now would be the time to sort of ask us those, and then we can try to answer those for you. Stop sharing my screen here. Any questions out there? Not seeing any. Okay, well, if we don't have any questions, I will go ahead and turn this over to Glenn Meyer. He's our marketing rep for Rain and Hail. He's going to talk to you about the changes for this upcoming 2021 crop year that have come through. So, Glenn, I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks, Ben. Can you hear me? I want to say thanks to the Jones Bank and Valparaiso Insurance Agency for having me. You are my guinea pigs. This is the first type of meeting I have done this way. I enjoy doing farmer meetings. I like to visit with the farmers face to face, but this is the cards that we're dealt with today, and we'll just do the best we can. I'm going to start off with a disclaimer in case I screw up. I'm covering my bases, and it looks like I needed to update this screen because I'm a year behind 2020. That's not good, but you know where I'm coming from. I'm starting off with sales closing date, March 15th. By March 15th, we have to decide if we're going to make any type of changes. If we're going to add options, add crops, add counties, they all have to be done by March 15th. Production reporting date, April 29th. We have to have 2020's production reported by April 29th. You might have already given it to them, to the agents, your production from last year. I have farm stored production. I estimated the bushels in each grain bin. I deliver it sometime in the winter. If I come up with more bushels than what I told my agent, make sure you come in and do a revised production report. Add bushels. You can have a higher guarantee that way. We always get questions every year, when is the initial plant date on corn and soybeans? So I looked it up. April 10th for corn is the initial plant date. Soybeans, it's April 25th. Yes, you can plant before those dates, but if the crop has to be replanted, we can't pay a replant payment because of you plant it prior to the initial plant date. But if nothing happens, crop insurance attached to it, and everything goes forward. The final plant date for corn, it's May 25th. Soybeans, it's June 10th. Corn has a 20-day late plant period. Soybeans has a 25-day late plant period. If you plant after the final plant date, you will have a 1% per day reduction of your guarantee. Acreage reporting date, July 15th. We match FSA. Premium billing date is August 15th. All right. There we go. Back one. Oh, I went way too far. Hang on, guys. And why isn't it? Okay, with the high prices that we have, I picked a policy from the agency, and I'm quoting a multi-peril policy at the 75% level for Seward County. Dryland corn, irrigated corn, and dryland beans and irrigated beans. My APH for dryland corn is 160. Irrigated is 241. In 2020, for the 75% level, it cost $32.16 an acre. My liability was $459.78. Last year's price, $388. For 21, same level of coverage, that premium is $46.12. $541.20 of liability. The day I did this quote, the price was $451. We're still in February, so we're still figuring the prices. The end of the month, we'll have all the prices figured. For irrigated corn now at $241 the APH. Last year it cost me $967 for $692.58 of coverage. This year, $1,775 and $815.41 of coverage. Soybeans. We have a 52 bushel dry land and a 69 bushel irrigated. Last year, the 75% level, it cost $16.95 for $343.88 of liability. Last year's price was $917. Earlier in the week, the price for soybeans was $11.60 for this year. The premium is $24.30. My coverage is $452.40 for dry land. Irrigated last year, it cost $481. The liability was $453. And this year on irrigated beans, premium is $10.80 for $600 worth of coverage. I didn't want anybody to have a heart attack when August comes rolling around and you see your premium bill, because it's huge. If everything stays as is the rest of the month out and the volatility factor does not change, this is pretty much the cost for crop insurance for this year. That leads me into enhanced coverage option. It's a new option available. It covers anywhere from 86% to 90% or all the way up to 95%. So if you go all the way to the top, 86 to 95, you're increasing coverage of 9%. The liability is figured off of your individual policy. It does not matter if you're ARC or PLC at the FSA office. It does not affect enhanced coverage option. Unlike supplemental coverage option, you can only have PLC. You can't have ARC. Sales closing is the same date, March 15th. We use the same prices.
Stop touching the computer.
Projected and harvest prices. And like I said earlier, your coverage is based on your underlying plan. There's 31 different crops that are covered with enhanced coverage option. The main ones that we have in the area, they're all covered. Corn, soybeans, hybrid seed corn, wheat, grain sorghum. If you're going to add ECO to your policy, it must be written with the same AIP. You can have both supplemental coverage option and enhanced coverage option. Supplemental coverage option is going from whatever level of coverage you are at. On the example on your premium, 75%. From 75% up to 86% is SCO coverage. 86 to 95 is enhanced coverage option. You get to elect up to 100% of the coverage. You cannot have it with margin protection or area risk protection or cap policies. And I've already mentioned the bottom bullet there. Unlike SCO, you can elect ECO and ARC. It follows the underlying revenue protection policy or yield protection policy. Coverage is based under the underlying policy. Separate coverages, separate indemnity determinations for practice, irrigated and dry land. Claims are based on county performance. Your liability comes from your policy. but the county determines if you're going to get paid. I'm a marketer, but I'm a farmer also. I buy insurance for my farm. This is an area-based product. I don't know everybody's financial problems or issues. If that's what you need, it's available. If you want to add extra coverage. I'm not a strong believer in area plans. I'll be right up front with you. The full amount of the area plan, ECO, can be paid if the coverage the coverage paid out will be when the county falls below 86% of the expected county revenue or yield. Every county is different. So I gave you a little graph here showing what's covered under what. Revenue protection is the multi-peril coverage at 75%. That's the blue, that's the starting point. My APH is 210. The price is $4. My liability is $630 on my multi-peril policy. If you take 630 divided by 75%, my expected income per acre is $840. So what? The 25%, it's uncovered. I don't have that covered. To get that insured, I have to take SCO and ECO. If I want everything insured that I can. The top 5, the 100 to 95%, there's no coverage out there for that. But if I want 95% of my expected crop to be insured, I can buy SCO and ECO and cover that. Now we're going into a policy, and we're going to go and show you how we figure it. The 200 bushel per acre expected yield. Projected price is $4. I elect 95% ECO coverage. The coverage range is selected 95% minus 86%. I'm covering 9% with ECO. The producer has an approved yield of 210. The projected price is $4. 4 times 210 times 9%. I have $75.60 per acre of coverage in that 9%. The harvest price comes in at $380, and the area final yield is $190. The final revenue is $722 per acre. This is how we figure the loss. I elected 95% minus the final area revenue divided by 800, my expected. That's 90.25%. So 95 minus 90.25, I have a 4.75 loss percent. So I take the final revenue divided by my expected to come up with a 4.75 loss. The payment factor, I take my loss, 4.75, divided by my coverage, 9%. Ends up with a 52.78 payment factor. So it's 52.78 of my $75.60 coverage. So I would get paid in this example, $39.90. I don't know what the harvest prices are going to come in at. I don't know what the yields are going to come in at. The agents have access to what we call a simulator. You can come in, they can do scenarios with you on your specific policy. If you think the prices are going to go down, you put that number, whatever you think it's going to be. If you think the yields are coming down, put that difference in the yield, and it will start showing you when ECO on your policy would kick in. I started off with multi-peril giving you the sticker shock on premium there. Now, here is an additional premium if you add ECO to your policy. I use the same APHs as the multi-peril policy, the 160, 241, 52, and 69. I chose the high level, 95% at 100%. Same price, $451. So I got a $64.94 on my dryland corn. The premium is $23.93 for ECO. My irrigated, I get $97.85, and that premium is $30.26. The soybeans, $54.29 for dryland. Premium is $17.72. And the irrigated gives me $72, and the premium is $18. It's available, but it's pricey. That's how I look at it. But everybody has to make that decision themselves. I would much rather, if you're not at the 85% level under multi-peril, I would much rather see you go there instead of staying at the 70 or 75% and adding SCO and ECO to your policy, because those are county-wide products. Another option, quality loss, QL. It doesn't come into play in eastern Nebraska a lot. The only time I can think about that it might even come into play would be 2012 with aflatoxin. We had aflatoxin, a discount. And so claims were filed, adjusters come out, we gave them total production, and because of aflatoxin, total production was reduced because of quality loss. And so let's say I had 1,000 bushels on this unit and I had aflatoxin. My 1,000 bushels went down to 750. If you add QL to your policy and you had a notice of claim filed, instead of having 750 in your database, that would be replaced with total production, 1,000 bushels. Like I said, it doesn't come in eastern Nebraska too often. It doesn't cost you to add it. The only time that it costs is if you have to use it. But quality loss, Western Kansas, they got losses year after year after year. They have wheat, they got musty wheat. Those are types that is going to come into play a lot more often in Western Kansas because of these types of quality issues. Grade, test weight, sprout damage. And those are the crops at the bottom that it affects, the major crops. QL must be available in the actuarials. It is in most of our counties in eastern Nebraska. It works alongside with TA, trend adjustment, YA, yield adjustment, YC, yield cup, and YE, yield exclusion. Quality loss can apply to prior crop years with quality losses, but a notice of loss had to be filed that year. No claim had to be paid, but a loss had to be filed. That's a requirement. The planning planner. I like my job. I think my agents like their jobs. A lot of people flip-flop corn to beans, beans to corn. We can do that. If all your acres were reported in 2020, you come in and tell them to rotate your crops. Your corn acres will become bean acres. Your bean acres will become corn acres. The acres rotate. The only thing left would be plant dates. You don't have to go to the FSA office first to report your acres. Your acres are already reported. I like this. This is an easy way so you don't miss anything. Well, Glenn, what about if it's a wet spring and my corn acres don't all get planted to corn? No big deal. Cross out corn, right in soybeans. The acre stayed the same, just had to change the crop. Your acreage report would be done in 10 minutes instead of maybe an hour or maybe even 2 hours. I'm going to touch a little bit on precision ag, not a lot, but I'm going to tell you this actually took place for one of my producers. They went in, their technology was Ag Leader. They set up a policyholder services account. At acreage reporting day, he went out to the tractor, pulled out the zip drive, brought it in, plugged it into his computer, brought up his policy, downloaded the information directly to his policy. The agent got an email and said, so-and-so's policy has information. All what the agent had to do, he brought that policy up, hit processed, and all the acres were downloaded to the policy. Very simple. It may not work that simple on every policy, but that policy, it worked perfect. That was with Ag Leader. If somebody's looking at precision, wants to go that route, it's available. On policyholder services account, if you set one up, you get direct deposits when you have a claim. You can make payments for premium with policyholder services account. Do electronic signatures. Another scenario I want to touch on is cover crops. Cover crops are being a lot more prevalent in eastern Nebraska. But if you have prevent plant this spring, we have now a statement's been added in the special provisions. Corn planted on acreage following a crop that has been prevented from being planted will not be considered a cover crop. And I thank the guy upstairs that that statement's in there, because I've never figured out how corn could be a cover crop. So we now have it in black and white. You cannot plant corn on prevent plant acres and call it cover crop. We got zones in Nebraska. You're either in zone 3 or zone 2, and termination of the cover crop. If you're in a no-till situation in eastern Nebraska, you can destroy your cover crop 7 days after the insurable crop has been planted. So if you have rye as a cover crop and you come in and plant corn or soybeans, you have 7 days after you plant that crop, corn or soybeans, to terminate the rye crop. That's just showing you that. And the last thing I want to touch on is livestock risk protection, LRP. They have increased the subsidy levels. 95 to 100 went from 25% subsidy to 35. 90 to 94.99, it went from 30 to 40. The percentages, coverage level percentages, that is the percentage of the prices that are being offered that day. How I look at LRP is for the cattle producers, swine producers, it's putting a floor on your cattle or on your hog. Everything comes off the board of trade to figure if you have a loss. Your premium used to be having to pay up front. Now you pay it at the end. We used to only have 30 days. Now we've got up to 60 days to show ownership or dispose of the cattle or hogs within 60 days of the end of the endorsement period. And with that, thank you. I appreciate your business that you place with Rain and Hail. And I want to thank again Jones Bank and Valparaiso Insurance Department or Agency for having me out today. And I will open it up for questions if there's any questions. I don't see any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. We really appreciate you being here and your expertise, and also the support that Rain and Hail provides to us and to our customers. I don't believe we have questions at this point. I know it's a little difficult to do those electronically, so of course you're welcome to visit with our staff in the upcoming days to address those as well. But please do add them in the chat, or if you'd like to unmute yourself and ask a question, you can do that as well. In the meantime here, I would like to make a couple other introductions. An additional service that Jones Bank offers is a trust department. So it's a separate part of the bank from crop insurance, but there's a variety of ways that we help clients, some related to estate planning, just a number of different things we do to help people through our trust department. And I would like to make, an additional service we offer then is farm management for folks who perhaps own farmland, but would like some assistance in managing that. And so 2 introductions I would like to make. A newer member of the team that we have is Diane Holtorf. Diane, would you like to say hello?
Sure. I recently started working with Jones Bank with Nancy Craddock as part of the succession plan. And I'm just excited to be here and looking forward to learning more about ways that we can help our farm customers.
Thank you, Diane. We're glad to have you at the bank. And then also in our trust department, Carla Hine. Carla is not new to the bank, but I think she's going to say just a few words about farm management and what that means and how we can help serve customers in that way. Carla?
Hi, a few of you have met me before at these meetings. So with our farm management, we can meet your specific goals for either your lifetime or future generations. You can let us help you with any details you would like us to help you with, or all. Some of the services we provide in our farm management are we do supply quarterly or monthly accountings. We help with tenant selection and lease preparation and evaluation. We do farm inspections. We collect cash rent or market grain, depending upon which way you're going. We pay the expenses for the farm, disperse the income after expenses have all been paid for the year. We can do a profit analysis for you on how your farm is doing. And government sign up. And also, this leads into what we're together for today, help with your crop insurance needs. So those are, a few of the things that we do, but you can cater it to how you would like your farm handled. So thanks for listening to me today.
Very good, Carla. Thank you. And so to wrap up here with our crop insurance program, We would like to give Bob Schmucker and Phil Bangert a chance to comment on crop insurance. Those are names that are probably very familiar to you. Bob, would you like to lead off with your thoughts on crop insurance for this year?
Sure, Max. Thank you. We have a couple of introductions here in our group here in Valparaiso today. The first one would be Mark Blasey, who is our president of our branch, and I'll let him just say hello.
Good morning or good afternoon here soon enough. Just want to thank everybody for participating. I know I certainly, when you see some of the numbers in the sticker shock, some of the prices based upon maybe our ag commodity prices, that's a bit of a sticker shock. But on the other hand, obviously you're covering a significantly greater amount of dollars so that you can guarantee those dollars in the fall. So it's kind of like every insurance product. I guess the more you've got to insure, the more coverage you're going to want. So in any event, certainly want to thank everybody for their time and effort. And if you got questions, feel free to stop in. The lobbies are open. We don't see as much traffic as we did before, but we're certainly glad to meet with people and kind of do it in a safe environment. So thank you.
Next, we're going to have Alan Fritz, who works a lot of our crop insurance here in that I'm off-site a lot. So I'll let Alan say a couple words.
Okay, as Bob said, I'm Alan Fritch. I've been with the Jones Bank organization for about 5 years now. I've been, before that, I was primarily a loan officer. In fact, I saw what I was a loan officer and branch manager of some banks. So I've got about 39 years worth of banking experience, and I've been doing the insurance stuff now for about 4 years. So just looking forward to working with everybody, and hopefully we can help you with whatever your needs are. Thanks.
Okay, we also have Greg Walla, who works with us in the crop insurance area, but he's not with us momentarily. I think he's probably working tax returns upstairs. We certainly want to thank Glenn Meyer for his presentation, and Glenn always does a good job and did so this morning. And we definitely want to thank our crop insurance customers for their past, present, and future business. Without you, there is no us. So you are important to us, and we want to serve your needs. As we talked about, there is that March 15th sales closing date. That's coming up soon. And we will be putting out a letter coming from both agencies. And that will be out in about 2 weeks, I think. And within that letter, you'll have some information. One will be our normal informational letter, which will contain some of the things you saw today and update you for as far as the prices go as of the date of publication. The letter or packet that you will receive will also contain an election form where you will choose to change whatever you want to change, your levels, the type of coverage. If you want to add land, which is always important to do early. If you've broken sod, we need to kind of know about that. One very important thing is if you're farming in a different county, we definitely need to know that because this federal program is county based. And so if you're farming in Seward County and you're adding Polk, you picked up a piece of ground in Polk, Polk is not covered unless you add that county. Along with that, those items will be a company change form, which we ask you to sign and return, even if you're not making any changes. That way we have a record that you've acknowledged that you received it and you choose not to make changes. As you've already heard, people always ask, well, what's new for 2021? Well, the biggest thing that's new is the price change. And that's going to impact crop insurance by quite a bit, as Glenn has already explained. I think that is most of what I had to say. We can provide you with a personalized quote, and we can do so either virtually or by phone or by in person, or we can mail you that. So if you want a quote that shows different options, we can provide that for you, and just let us know. So the best of luck in 2021, and don't hesitate to stop in or give us a ring. And I guess I would be open to questions too. If you want to hit that question button or chat button, we can take questions as to whatever you have there. Seeing none, we'll pass it back to Max, I guess.
Thank you, Bob. And thanks to all of you and Val. Phil Bangert, any closing comments that you have?
I just wanted to also thank all of you for letting us help you. We really appreciate your business. Greg, Alan, Bob, Ben, Susan, and myself, we're here to help you. And please, like Bob had said, just get in touch with us. We're glad to give you, help you with some quotations or some different options to look at. And we're here to help you and for all of us to have a good 2021 season. So thank you for your business.
Thanks, Phil. We do have Susan Singleton here as well. She works a great deal with Seward customers and also a little bit more behind the scenes with some Val customers. Sue, anything you'd like to add? We sure do appreciate your work as well.
No, I just can't wait to meet the Valparaiso people. So if you hear me calling you, I'm Sue Singleton. I've been with Jones Bank for 38 years. I've been working in the crop insurance, give or take about 20 years. So thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Well, that does conclude our program for today. Again, we really thank you for joining us via this, different format electronically. Hopefully it was helpful. As we said, we look forward to meeting in person again, but this is a nice way to add to those in-person interactions. And I would just repeat, we appreciate your business. We appreciate your relationships and the trust that you put in us. And we look forward to helping you have a very successful 2021. So thanks very much and have a good afternoon. Goodbye.